Well, we have seen Neon. They're not in the tournament anymore, but they did pick up the Yopaj Earth Spirit a couple times. Who knows if they
10
want to try and
seconds
run that for
remaining.
Carl in the mid lane?
I think I've seen him run it a couple of times, and he goes like,
5 seconds
obviously the
remaining.
damage talent into like an Echo Saber, so you're actually
Oh,
able to
really?
just
Wow.
very quickly burst things down. Nothing major beyond that in terms of pure right click, but that Echo Saber just provides so much value. You know, good stats, a little bit of mana is always nice. So yeah, I think it'd be totally fine to run mid this game. Against a Lesh, you might have a little bit of difficulties in the laning stage, though. I mean, is it just Alina mid?
Yeah, there's a good possibility. What do you do? Like, Lena mid, Phoenix can play 5, and you put the Earth Spirit as a 4. Phoenix can be flexed 3 if it's a very good Phoenix game and they don't have a way to deal with it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Cuckoo wants to. Well, yeah, they didn't have a way to deal with it. They very much do now. And I'm a big fan of this lifesteal for Team Dog. It's such a good pick this game.
Mm-hmm. Got good aggressive timings. It kind of takes, like you mentioned, Phoenix out of the equation. It means that late game Phoenix isn't exactly a factor.
10
Of course,
seconds
Phoenix
remaining.
Spectre, great combination if the game goes beyond 40 or so minutes.
5
But yeah, good
seconds
tower
remaining.
taking. You've got a vehicle for yourself in the Pangolier if you really want it. Or you could just use it to give your Leshrac a little bit of healing with the Infest. So yeah, I'm totally on board with the lifestealer here from Team Dog.
Team ban.
And a suspect that goes into the late game versus the lifestealer, I mean, he's going to have an immense amount of health, and lifestealer loves that. You just, the Feast being able to amplify percent-wise on their health, the max health, I should say. So, lifestealer is going to feel pretty good going into the late game against the Spectre. And, you know,
10 seconds remaining.
I like what they're drafting so far from Team Dog. You know, we're seeing what they want to try and pick, banning out the Beastmaster, so thinking about the position 3. We've seen Cuckoo as the drafter, so funnily enough, really putting a lot more emphasis on his heroes throughout the tail end of the draft.
Mm-hmm. I feel like regardless of what happens with these offlane picks, we're going to see a lot more action than we've seen in the past week towards the mid lane. Because I feel like this lane is going to be mid, no real escape mechanisms, but really good at laning. Same thing with Leshrac. And you've got Ogre, obviously, really good if you're able to roam away. Pango, if you go the Orb of Venom and you get a lucky shot proc, they're dead, basically. And Earth Spirit, assuming it's a position 4, you know, not just the roll, but also the slows / kicking them back towards the tower. So I feel like this game is going to be probably won and lost on what happens towards the mid lane and how the supports are going to rotate to make that happen.
What are you thinking that Team Dog are looking for in particular? Like, they banned up the Snapfire, so some flex you can put at mid, you can put into support. You think the Pango is going to be the 3 here for Ice Ice Ice? What are they looking for?
I mean, who's got the... Yeah, Ice has the first pick. So what are they wanting to avoid? I guess, like, Pango doesn't have any kill potential against the Spectre or Phoenix. That's the thing that I'm worried about a little bit. So I feel like it would be more useful as a 4 because you're just going to fulfill your role as a 4 just as well as you would as a 3, right? So I would say that there's still a pos 3 to come. I mean, Tidehunter's been banned out, Timber's gone, Beastmaster's gone, Batrider's gone, LC's gone, Doom's gone, Viper's gone, Sladar's gone. There's not many left in the pool. Dazzle's gone.
Darkseer, this has been a hero that Ice Ice has played a lot. They've got a melee 4, amplifies the lifestealer.
Admiral Conker.
So is this a 4 Lesh then?
Well, I will say I've been a very big fan of Arbed's Conquer throughout the group stages so far. He has taken over games. Really great way to punish the Lina if she shows too aggressively. A hero who's kind of very reliant on your positioning, super squishy, so the Conquer is going to make it very difficult. And look how, you know, they're pretty tanky, honestly. Lifestealer, Conquer, it's just more kind of, you set the Infest for the Lesh, now you got the boat as well, just, you know, allowing the Lesh to have drawn out fights.
I wonder if T1 are going to reconsider Earth Spirit potentially being a mid now that you've got the Conquer. You know, you're not easy to be harassed out.
Now select your heroes.
I don't know who's playing what. I'll be real with this. Like, who is going in what position? All right, Zephyr, position 4 Earth Spirit.
Can you have a Phoenix 3? Because you're against a Lifestealer.
Cuckoo's
yeah,
the Lina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of the Lina 3 this game? Because I feel like bumping the priority on the hero against what Team Dog have, I feel like Lina might die a couple times.
Yeah, I feel like you might die more than a couple of times.
Yeah, I was being a little bit, kind of safe there, like respecting maybe Cuckoo's play, but it looks like a hard Lena 3.
Hmm. I mean, I'm struggling to remember what was actually built when the Lena 3 was played previously. Like maybe just a couple of null talismans just for the right click damage into what is it? Like what do they need? They've got a couple of stuns. So Atos isn't like amazing. Yule's is kind of useless this game in my opinion. Like you're not going to win many fights from burst right now on T1. It's all about the sustained damage through the dispersion, through the sunray, supernova, I guess, magnetized, ember spirit. You're able to get some pickoffs maybe with Cuckoo and Carl, but I don't know. Like, is it just a Greaves game? Maybe gives you that little bit of extra survivability, I guess. But well, Cuckoo, he doesn't care. Playoffs, not playoffs. Let's just try something a little bit out of the ordinary.
Yeah,
I feel like he needs to be perfect with his positioning in lane though, because depending on how on point Afu is with his little backstabs that he might be trying to do, if he gets that Orb of Venom hit onto her, if he goes the Ignite level 1, obviously Lifestealer able to catch up. You could just die, feed a lot of gold, put Lifestealer closer towards level 2. It's looking rough potentially for T1, but I don't know. It's doable. If it gets to the late game, they've got a lot of potential to be able to
Prepare for
just
battle.
crush Team Dog, honestly, with what I mentioned about the longer durations of these team fights.
So you feel like this one late game T1 have the advantage? What about kind of the mid to early? This is where Team Dog kind of have to ramp up the pressure because the life steal doesn't need as many items to come online, whereas the Spectre does. Is that where Team Dog really have the opportunity to be the strongest?
Yeah, I guess so. And I wonder how much emphasis is being, or like, what's the word? I think ego's too mean to say it, but like Abed, like you said, has been playing insane on the Kunkka, and he was just like, "Look, just give me Kunkka. I'm going to dominate the laning stage, and then, we're just going to win in the mid game. Simple as that."
Well, was the first time we saw Abed play the Conqueror in the groups, I feel like it was against the Ember, and he went like 4-0 in the lane. I'm not sure if it was the Ember. I'm trying to remember, but it absolutely dumps at that matchup. And usually, like, the Ember looks pretty good this game. There's not a lot of... If they get a Fire Blast stun, they need the chain lockdown. That's the thing. Like, the X is pretty difficult because the slight, you go into the Aether, you've got this invulnerability, so we'll see how Carl is able to play. There is a lot more lockdown that he has to be worried about. So if they find that stun, they don't really have a defensive factor. Sunray, maybe some heals is enough, but it's we'll see how the Ember's going to be able to play. Again, a lot of these, we saw last, series, the emphasis on the mid lane. There's just so much priority on making space for your position 1, and feels like it's going to be the same this game. The Conqueror and the Ember are going to put a lot more emphasis on making rotations and finding these kills early.
And just while we're waiting in this pause, we can see some cute little back and forth coming here from Cuckoo and In Your Dream. Cuckoo giving some props to some Storm gameplay on YouTube. So when you get a moment, do check that out in another tab, just to see the In Your Dream Storm. And he's like, "Well, thank you for the free promotion. What's your PayPal?"
Just give me, we saw the little bit of bartering back and forth last game as well. That at the start with that life that the
Arcanas.
Yeah, when Shattered him, and yeah, you're in a bit of trouble there, and they're trying to barter back and forth. This one's just a friendly little bit of banter, saying that his Storm's pretty good. Let's see if his life steal is going to be pretty good as well here in the series. Excited to see how In Your Dream is able to fare.
Yeah, me too. And you mentioned before about needing to perfectly chain these stuns together if you're going to try and take down the Ember Spirit. We saw, granted, it was less farmed Ember Spirit because wanting to funnel everything into the juicer, but we saw with the previous series what can happen. Like, Ember Spirit has the potential to not be amazing towards the later stages of the game. And so you don't even need to go on to him a lot of the time. Like, if they can pick off Cuckoo instead, who, like, you don't have a Sleight of Fist, you don't have a Remnant on Alina, it's a lot more squishy. And so Yeah, that's where a lot of my attention is going to be this time around. Like, how is Cuckoo's positioning? He's naturally a very greedy style of player who wants to be at every single team fight if he can be, but that might kind of bite him on the ass this time if he gets a little bit too aggressive and too eager.
Yeah, I'm excited on the item build as well from Cuckoo. Like how he really wants to fare, because it feels like he needs some way to keep his life. You know, whether it's going to be something like a yours or not. You're highlighting like the Greaves potentially, and I'm just excited to see what he's able to pull out. You know, the upper bracket, they've got a little bit of a sleeper, maybe strat coming out, getting revealed here. You know, see if it's going to be the one to win this first game here for Cuckoo. I'm excited at least because we haven't really seen it much. You highlighted that, you know, Seb's played it a couple times. Europe, or you know, some of their threes are a lot more. What's I should say, not happy, but like they're open to some of these wonky threes. We see that in Southeast Asia as well. So I'm excited to see at least how it's able to fare, and you know, hopefully we're all good with everyone back in the lobby. Some still issues with the ping. It's a bit unfortunate. Looks like we're good to go. So, you know, the pressure that they're able to put on early on. I'm excited to see Zephyr play. We were highlighting that Lina. You know, it doesn't get it picked up, but the Earth Spirit is something he is able to make an immense amount of plays on.
Yeah, and he's got the Orb of Venom as well. So clearly putting a lot of thought into the fact that, look, if we're on point with our Light Strike array, that's all you really need to be able to quickly burst someone down in this lane. He's gone into the circlet as well, so I wonder if Cuckoo's going to go the classic, at least for his recent history time, with going into the Urn of Shadows, or if it is just going to be those stats, whether it be a Null Talisman, potentially even a Bracer, because they are still a little squishy with him. I feel like he needs to prioritize surviving more than just the damage dealing, because they've got the damage. Let's be real.
The battle begins.
Definitely. See, as we are back underway, Arfu gets a nice little D ward. We see this constantly, man. It's just, you know, position 5s, nothing really to do right now. You're going to secure both the bounties down bot. You know, you're not going to get the top ones unless, you know, the team's communicated to infiltrate. So the 5 just goes mid, sits in that pocket, you know, gets a tower to aggro. So obviously there's a ward there, and, you know, just a nice little advantage now that Abed kind of has mid.
Well, of course, and a little bit of extra experience as well for Arfu, already taken himself a quarter of the way towards that level 2. Going to be pretty important as well, considering how much they're going to be wanting to try and go on Cuckoo if they can. He hasn't got the Orb of Venom, though, on Arfu, so not quite a huge amount of kill potential here. He's in a risky spot, though.
A little bit of constant harass. We'll see how that's the nuisance that the Ogre can be time and time again through that lane. But I'm excited for this mid matchup. Arben and Carl, you know, some of the best Southeast Asia mid laners going head to head, and you know, this Abed Conker, I mean, we weren't really sure how the Lesh was going to get played, if it was going to flex as a mid or be ran as a support. And you know, this last pick Conker, we'll see. Abed has played so incredibly well in this hero time and time again, and going against the Ember matchup, Carl, this is another hero that, you know, we can see him thrive on.
They're going in onto Cuckoo if they can, but not having the open wounds just yet is going to make it a little difficult for In Your Dream to continue the chase down.
About to get the level 2 here for In Your Dream. So if they do get an opportunity to be able to put some pressure on, they will have at least that extra level to be able to do so. But we get a classic Ice Pangolier. He's level 25 on the hero, so obviously has the reps put in. And Hollow's going to take a little bit of damage down bot.
Is under attack.
Yeah, it's just a level 2 Phoenix. He should be able to just shrug it off. He pops the salve. He's ready to go again. Might stick around. Yep, gets his level 2. Good work in disrupting the pull through there by Whitemon. Speaking of pulls, Arfu, he's making it happen on the top side, just getting this small camp. One of the better small camps to be able to deal with creeps. Get at least 2 of those creeps tonight, especially if you pull it through those trees like that. Means that they can't all hit the camp.
Yeah, and also the positioning as well just makes it a little bit further away from Radiant to kind of come over and really disrupt that pull. We've seen that start to come in favor pretty recently. Like you said, the funnel factor and just how far away it is against the Radiant boys. But I mean, this main matchup still going kind of back and forth here between Abed and Carl's Ember. Without the probably going to see some rotations come out in the next minute for these power runes, but you know, until then, maybe they're able to get a skill play come out and find a cheeky first blood.
Careful what you claim.
Carl's been gone on a little bit. Not able to dodge out completely with that. How long until the Tidebringer? Just up in 1 second. Oh, he was baiting it out a little bit there. I wonder what his skill build's going to be on this Ember Spirit, right? Because just with 2 points in the Flame Guard, there's no way that Abed can take it off him for the entire duration. So are you going to prioritize the Sleight of Fist so you're more easily able to secure the range creeps? Or is it just about standing in the middle of the creep wave and, I suppose, bullying Abed out a little bit stronger?
You see Abed being a big nuisance, so just that easier way to be able to harass, and we're getting close to the 4 minutes though, so the rotations come through. Arfu's just following the surfing Earth Spirit towards that top side, and I mean,
both pumpkin heads, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. So who's the scary one? We're gonna say bye to the pumpkins pretty soon as well with this new patch coming out. I've been a pretty big fan of them, the pumpkins and those little extra cosmetics. Nice. Torrent. I mean, it's gonna force Whitemon to pick it up now, but it's got to dive. Unfortunately, the X is gonna make it a little bit difficult now. They need to set up perfectly with a stun. But it looks like without the chain lockdown, Whitemon should be fine here without the torrent available for Abed.
Even popping the Mango and the Salve, heading straight back to lane. Not wanting to leave Spectre alone even for a minute.
Dire's structures are
Where do you think this potential first blood might come out? Is it maybe mid lane once Abed hits 6 with a rotation, or is it just the 6s we're waiting for?
I would say it's the 6s we're waiting for. Maybe Cuckoo could look to make that rotation with the Laguna Blade. Oh, they're trying to make a play onto Arfu, but Zephyr misses. Very uncharacteristic from him, and 10 seconds until these bounties come up, he might be the one to drop.
Radiant's middle tower
Arfu still has a skill point. It's going to now pick it up in the Fire Blast and in your dream. There we go. There's that first blood coming through. 5 minutes in the game. As soon as they're able to get the bounties across the map as well, they might actually get all 4 here from Team Dog, so that's going to be nice for them.
Yeah, for sure. Especially Carl. I think he just got his bottle refilled by someone TPing in, so he should be fine.
Carl might be in trouble. They're rotating mid. Abed's about to hit 6, and now with the slide on cooldown, let's see if they go.
He's got 6 now.
Carl's got that extra survivability as well. He's going to have to juke and jive through a couple of abilities. Juke. There we go. Misses one. Beautifully played from that Embus. You know, the 6s that they would try, both teams trying to play around with. As soon as Abed gets that ulti, very high kill threat opportunity. Kind of just needs one more hero to really offset the damage that you're lacking. And you see Carl, as soon as he gets his ulti as well, just going to make it even more difficult to be able to find that kill. But just the continued emphasis that we see for the power runes here.
Yeah, might end up earning them a kill onto Arfu. He's slowed up, he's stunned. Carl's Flame Guard ticking the entire time. He should be dead. He's going to try turning around and stunning him up.
Actually? He might be able to, and he does. The big old swipe from the bad boy Roshan stops Radiant from being able to find their first kill of the game. Unfortunate.
Just that left, right, good night. That's all that he needs.
So it's been a pretty passive game at the moment. I mean, we see almost all the cores. I mean, they're all over 30 last hits, so having very good lanes at the moment. Jackie, you know, going for this Blade Mail is to be expected on the Spectre. You highlighted the natural build of the Spectre and your Blade Mail maxed out dispersion. It's going to feel so nice against this Lesh. I guess, you know, being that position 4, we'll see how much damage Lesh is really going to be dipping up. But I'm actually trying to keep eyes on, you know, T1 if they're making some stacks for the Spectre in the jungle.
That's the thing. They just made their first one now at the 7-minute mark, which...
Cuckoo in trouble up top here. They dodge out that LSA with the rage from In Your Dream, and they just slowly chase him down. This positioning from the Lina has to be so on point, and we see just a bit too far pushed up without the help of, you know, Zephyr there, and now down bot as well. Whitemon has to dive away. Ice. Not going to try and commit the ultimate to dive underneath the tower.
Don't be angry.
Yeah, it just feels a little odd that they haven't been putting a bit more emphasis into the stacking, especially with this Spectre. Just keeping him in lane, I feel like he's going to be falling a fair way behind this Lifestealer, who's essentially had a free lane. And same sort of thing with the Lina against in your dream, right? They have had the Ogre Magi away from the lane for quite a while, but despite having the range and even just some boots, so you're not going to get
Mid
caught
lane,
up to.
roll in. Arbed could be in trouble. They're going to try and kick him back under the tower. He gets the boat. Nice dodge from Carl, and now they're going to try and turn this Dire. They got
Nice
some
stun.
rotations. Arbed still got this run buff to be able to utilize. Now Ice inside the river. A perfect choke point for the Rolling Thunder, just bouncing back and forth. Now with the Haunt, however, they get the vision on top of Arbed. Cuckoo's going to be able to claim from downtown with the Dragon Slave, but they commit the Haunt for that. Let's see what else they can get. Everyone's kind of dealt the split away, but yeah, they found Arthur. Cuckoo doesn't even need the ultimate, it looks like, with the last right click brings him down, but Dire,
They're running from
they want some
lifestealer.
revenge though. They're going to be
He's
careful
dead.
because In Your Dream's
Ooh.
showing up.
I don't know
Unlucky
about that one.
claws.
Cuckoo's so laggy, he says, but you are dead regardless, my man.
And what do we... Yeah, they got no chance of keeping him alive, honestly. And this is just the positioning. I mean, if Lena shows out far like that, she's gone boots, windlace, you know, so really trying to give him some extra mobility. But this is... I mean, this is a kill here for Dire. Easy.
Yeah. What I was saying before all that action broke out was, with Cuckoo up on the top side, he was essentially 1v1 against In Your Dream for a while. And, you know, he had the boots, he had the windlace, so kind of surprised that he didn't get a little bit more aggressive towards In Your Dream with the harass down. I guess he has the feast, right, maxed out, so he's never going to take the full brunt of everything, but I don't know, it felt a little bit too free of a lane for In Your Dream, considering it was a 1v1.
And is this how we're going to feel like the mid game's going to go, where Dire are just able to get super active? I mean, Spectre showed up, but now Haunt's on cooldown, and you're not really going to have Jackie showing up to these fights. So is it just that Team Dog are really going to start, you know, ramping up the pressure with these early items and really kind of limiting the map that T1 can have?
I think it's all about the map right now. You can see that obviously they're going to get this kill onto Cuckoo. If Whitemon commits, they might even pick him off as well. Polison, he's 1 second until that Diabolic Edict is available, and you've got creeps pushed into the tower. So they could very easily just back this one up with a tower push. Like, Jackie doesn't really want to be here all that much. He's got the Dispersion, but no points in the Desolate, so you're not going to be doing all that damage if Team Dog just ignore you.
They do need some levels at the moment here for the Lesh. Only 3, well, about to hit 4. I mean, it is still... It's 8:30, so maybe hoping to have a little bit levels. You can use the tome as well, but you know that edict's going to be the big way to be able to take these objectives. And like you said, you know, you win a fight because you're going to be the ones putting some pressure on. So having the Lesh there, you know, you take that engagement, you can back it up then with being able to get some objectives. So you know, we'll see Radiant. They don't really have that, which is a bit of an issue. Like, you know, Spectre not the greatest at hitting towers early on. The Ember definitely not going to, and your position 3 as well, and the Lena won't either. So if T1 win a fight, them being able to clean objectives is it's going to be limited.
Man, he's moving at 134 movement speed right now on Cuckoo. Lucky Shot, Orb of Venom, Ignite, and Open Wounds if they really want it.
And that's with him having 2 Fury Soul stacks. I mean, I know it's only level 1, so it's not much, but it's still a factor. And you got Boots and Windlace as well. Like, your Lena's kind of itemized for the movement speed, as we see. Unfortunately, you're pretty much just slithering away. Or they're going to look to turn, though. Jackie coming forward. They get the Laguna Blade, and Cuckoo, well, at least will be able to find a kill before he dies. In Your Dream, though, is still very content with fighting, but they do have the Ember back up, so Carl showing forward. Got 2 remnants. They're posturing on the high ground. Ice going back in. Finds it with that swashbuckle, but now has he
doesn't have escape.
Stepped the mark, though.
Carl
Going forward. They do have Arbed back up in the mid lane. They're well aware of this, but he's not really coming over, so looks like that's going to be all she wrote there.
Zephyr's just taking this farm, apparently, this stack instead of the Spectre. He just was kicking the one to the left. He ended up getting a trusty shovel from it, so that's always nice. Yeah, just doing his best to soak up some experience now, although Ice, he's got the Rolling Thunder available if he wants to make a play, and he will.
Yeah, I mean, you can roll away, but Ice, he's got his own form of a roll here. Finds 1 stun. It's at least on top of the lane, so there's no real way Ice can bounce back and forth, but, well, he'll just do it the old-fashioned way with the right clicks, even with the help of Polo coming over as well. So, you know, they've got the wave shoved in, 2 points up in the Edict. We'll have to pop the glyph, but we're going to see Team Dog start to put some pressure on top of the tier 1 down bot.
Should melt relatively easily. I wonder if he's going to...
He's in trouble as well. Arbed's going to be able to catch him out, but the boat combination runs into the torrent. Even the life stealer showing up there. So that's 4 kills for the life still, even though Arbed's claiming that one. He's 1-1-1 at the moment, but that's just... I mean, that's your position 3 there. It's going to be so rough as this game continues. He's going for a mechanism, so it's going to give you highlighted the potential mech in your into Greaves potentially, but bot actually might not have an opportunity here as they're going to try and roll forward. Silence up the top of 2. Leshrac ultra dead looks like just a sacrificial lamb, hoping that Ice can run away, but he's still holding his ground. Without the rotations, Ice will have the rolling thunder, but he's going to be careful because the chains is so incredibly strong against the Pango, and yeah, he's going to fall. Actually not disengaging, and he's going to cost him his life as well there, down bot.
They're even going to get all these bounty runes with the use of that haste. Will they chase in onto Afu? They're kind of considering it, but just backing off a little bit. I mean, having to be careful. Yeah, I just feel like if you're going this Spectre, you have to go the Ancient stacking. Like that's kind of half of the reason why you do it. Like, sure, it's a counter to the Lesh, but then Team Dog just responded and said, oh, okay, well, Lesh is the position 4 now, so we don't really care if you kill it.
Yeah, this is the Blade Mail literally turned Spectre into an Ancient farming hero. And if you're not making stacks for him, like,
in your dream, he's walking up into the Ancient area. He's silenced.
LSA, Laguna Blade, they're dumping everything on him. Can they get the Infest? No, Afu. He ran back in just a little bit too late. And now Afu's in trouble though, Dire. They're coming over Ice in this choke point, the Rolling Thunder. Gonna try and put his attention on top of the Earth Spirit. He might need some extra help here because he's completely utilizing all that ultimate. But meanwhile, Carl on top of the eastern side deals with that Ogre. So both supports dropping. Ice does get to kill and make it away though. But the big one is the life stealer. He just picked up that Midas. That's a first death of the game here for In Your Dream.
And who ended up getting it as well? So it was Cuckoo that ended up getting 400 gold. So nice little way for him to recover. He gets closer and closer towards that mechanism into the Greaves, and the stacks are finally starting to happen for the Spectre. Here we go. Jackie's got 3, Blade Mail used, and he's going to start rocketing up.
And he's also got Haunt as well, so this might be an opportunity where Radiant thinking about trying to fight with Haunt, but his... Yeah, this is really nice for Ice. I mean, coming over. He's a bit away from the team, though, so posturing once again too aggressively. Ice is going to get punished, although he's got the swashbuckle. Let's see if it's enough distance. This nuisance lucky shot procs making it so annoying, but at least Jack is able to fall back and farm up that Ancient. He's even got an Iron Talon as well, which is so nice for the Spectre.
Again, like you said, though, it's a lot of attention being taken away. All 4 heroes, it means that In Your Dream was happy to just sit down there and farm. He's got that Midas going into the Armlet, so looking to just get a lot more aggressive with their timings compared to T1, who they're going into a Yasha, pretty standard, into the Manta style, wanting to avoid as many of those silences and slows as possible.
Now, what is the Conquer going for? He has committed for the Orchid. He had it queued up. I wasn't sure if he was actually going to commit for it or not. And it looks like it's going to be the case. I mean, Carl is going so deep here. They're going to be careful if they get the Fire Blast, but be able to. So, yeah, I mean, this Orchid's going to give you a really nice way to be able to control the Ember, considering he's going his Spirit Vessel first, so very nice against the tanky heroes that Dire have. But it doesn't have a defensive factor, though.
I mean, maybe it's the sort of thing that he wants to do to force Carl into going something a little bit more defensive, like the Yule Scepter or an earlier BKB than he might like. Yeah, Zephyr goes down, Edict is maxed out, they're going to take out this tier 1 tower.
Well, there we go. He's got the Orchid. Might reveal it now, and Carl is going to be careful. They're going to follow up with the Rolling Thunder as well. If they can get the first stun after the Orchid, can they chain lock him down, though? That's the question. Bounty back. Perfectly timed from Ice to get the stun, but Carl is out of there on top of the high ground here. Meanwhile, behind that tier 1 tower, they drop the Supernova. In Your Dreams trying to come over. Won't be able to deal with it, so the egg's going to end up getting popped. But Whitemon's in very, very big trouble here. He gets the dive. No stuns at the moment here for Team Dog, but that's a
no one dies.
Yeah, well, a lot forced. That's the Orchid reveal, and you know, Jackie holding onto that Haunt as well. Didn't feel like it was a fight where he felt comfortable showing up. The game still, you know, Dire have a 3,000 net worth lead, but it definitely feels, you know, relatively even at the moment. They are utilizing all this early aggression, but you know, at least you have the Spectre finding a decent amount of fun. What's happening down bot? Oh, Cuckoo, well...
Dead again.
Yeah, that's just Ice, and Polo doing difficult things for the Lina there.
think he's got his mech finished though, which is nice.
The river, Arfu. Not just a roll. Still that Sunray just gonna shred him down. 3 points up in at the Spirit Vessel as well. But Ice is gonna disrupt the fight. Now you're gonna be careful because the Earth Spirit controlled will pay the price here. So it's a 1-for-1. And Ice is just... He's playing this Pango so aggressive up in the face of T1. They're really lacking the control. Even though Searing Chains is one of the better ways to deal with him. And Carl, they're going to try and drop the combo. Do they have the damage to go through him afterwards, though? It doesn't look like they do. Gonna have another round of the X up in 3 seconds, but Carl's actually out of remnants, which is the big factor there. It costs him its life, so dominating spree for Arbed. Very nicely done there.
Yeah, just playing that a little bit too aggressively. I wonder, with T1's side as well, I feel like they're going to want to up the tempo soon. I mean, Jackie, he's got the recipe. All he needs is the ultimate orb. We've yet to see a Haunt as well come out from this Spectre. What are the big items that we're wanting to see on the Phoenix and the Earth Spirit? I mean, it seems like all about defensive right now on Zephyr. He's got the cloak, he's got the raindrops. I guess he's looking to build into a glimmer, I suppose. I think a Veil is pretty damn good value though.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's more... Here come Dire. They want to give them no opportunity to be able to find any farm. The quick silence prevents the supernova from the Phoenix. Now Ice is going to try and roll in forward. Carl on top of the back line. They drop
nice
the egg,
supernova.
but can they deal with it? In Your Dream instantly pops the rage, going to run it down, and they're able to do so successfully now with the Magnetize, burning them slowly. They get the bonus help from the Infest, but now with this run buff as well, they're just not going through the Dire Heroes. They'll force a buyback. Carl's still going to work as well. Finally, actually, that run buff comes through. It wasn't yet at the start of the fight, but they're going to be careful because Arbed, that Sunray, just burning him through, is trying to disengage here, but Jackie, hot pursuit, they get the chains. Now Conker's going to end up falling, and Ice. He's going to have the swashbuckle up in a couple of seconds, but can they continue chasing though? Remnant available, Carl. Does he have the chains? He does. Cancels the TP, the tip as well. An incredible fight for T1. They do have to force a couple of buybacks there though, but they do come out ahead in the net worth. It was actually on the Phoenix to buy back.
Speaking of the Phoenix, a lot of damage being able to be dished out there by White One. 1600 just from that Sunray. It's going to have huge impact against the way that Arbed's been building this. You know, he's obviously gone into the braces. You've got some good strength gain. And going into the BKB next. So that'll be where you start to drop off a little bit. But who's getting caught out again?
White One. So he's just trying to get a ward. Polo lands a stun. They got Arfu running over too. And man, this Veil that we've been seeing on Ogre, it does a stupid amount of damage with Ignite. And like the team that they have can really utilize the Veil as well. You know, the Lesh, the Conker's pretty decent too. Pango's even not the worst, but you know, just the Ogre Lesh, these two supports, they're going to be dishing out some deeps.
It's not even just the Ignite, right? Like, it's... A lot of people get confused, but Dota is very specific about what it means when it says something. If it says increased damage taken from spells, that does not mean magic damage. That just means anything that you cast or can use. So, you know, physical stuff like the Diabolic Edict, that counts. That gets increased damage. Tidebringer, increased damage.
Radiant
Trying to get aggressive like they are against a Spectre Phoenix lineup. Aggression is exactly what you need. Arfu might be dropping down though, gets the Veil off.
Silenced up though with a rolling thunder. They're kiting the fight on top of the back line. No one's died just yet, but Arfu and Zephyr's gonna pay the price, but now they want more. Orchid out, Ember. He's got the Sunray to be able to protect him. Can they chain lock him down with the boat flying through? Nice slide! Just in the nick of time.
Supernova.
A perfect supernova as well. Jack is in the middle, straight on top of Polo. The LSA doesn't land. They're trying to kite this Arbed infested up. He's got the bonus help, but Cole, he's gonna commit forward. He's gonna be careful here. Have you gone too far? Pop back out once again in your dream.
That
He's
Sunray is so good.
No, the Sunray just melting through Arbed, and Ice Rage just in the nick of time is going to attempt the TP. I don't think they got the damage to go through it, but it looks like Ice is going to be the next objective. They'll chase him down. Swashbuckle on the higher ground. They got that vision. Haunt's even flying at the later stage in the fight here. Jackie, he wants Polo flying to target. Now Ice will pay the price as well. It's a double for your Spectre. And another fight where T1 come out on head.
Ooh. Yeah, this is what I was expecting coming into the night. You know, 19 minutes, 33 kills. It's what we love to see with Dota. I mean, I just have to highlight White One again. I feel like he's just been playing fantastically for this team. getting some really nice supernova placements. Even if, you know, I think he's died a couple of times within a supernova, but it just takes so much attention away from the middle of the fight. Means that the rest of his cores can get away. That time around, it forces the retreat to the right. It means that you've got the high ground to play with. I think they had a ward that just expired at that time, so they had complete vision of what was happening towards that retreating area that Team Dog was trying to make.
See, Dire's starting to get aggressive though. They know the Haunt and also the Supernova's on cooldown. Jackie, that Manta. Nice dodge there. He's going to be able to get the TP out.
They got the outpost as well, Team Dog, so that means
big,
no
yeah.
experience for T1.
Greaves now picked up as well for the Lina, so they're going to have their extra little bit of sustain. It's before the Leshrac with his Greaves, but went for a little bit more stat items just to keep the life of the Lesh so far. So it's a 2,000 net worth lead for Team Dog. It's, you know, slowly diminishing thanks to T1's incredible past couple of fights. And, you know, this is Spectre. He's got 2,000 gold in the bank working on the Skadi. This hero is really starting to ramp up the damage here. Top of the net worth 6-0 and 5. But Lifesteal's got a Deso now as well. So In Your Dream still kind of, you know, sticking head on with that farm and is really going to be dealing a lot of damage in these engagements.
And you see with Carl, he did go like we were expecting, right? He goes into either the Yule Scepter or the BKB, just wanting to kite out a few of these cooldowns, right? Kite out the rage, make sure you're not getting silenced up by the Conquer every single time without, you know, a full commit. A BKB feels so much more of a heavy commitment than a Yule Scepter, and well, it just means that they're going to be lacking a little bit of damage on this Ember Spirit for the next 5 or so minutes. It's all heavily going to be on the Spectre. Whitemon has been doing a great job. And, well,
Radiant are scanning.
maybe he's got to find someone.
Well, they don't have the Haunt just yet, but Radiant, they're kind of in the area, Sunray. Let's see if it's going to be enough fuel to keep Zephyr alive. In Your Dream with the fresh Deso will shred down that support. You see the damage that Sunray does. Like, this is such a key target here. You have to deal with the Phoenix. Whitemon, you know, that Supernova, yes, you've got the Lifestealer and kind of the Ogre to buff that up, but if you place on the high ground, well, In Your Dream's not going to be able to contest it, and now Radiant, well, you can buy back on the Earth Spirit if you want to contest it. You've got all your ultimates as well. Ogre might just fall to start. That Fire Spirit and the Spirit Vessel. Jack is going to claim up the back line as well, with the Laguna Blade. In Your Dream is incredibly weak here, but they get the stun on top of the Ember. Carl's going to be careful for the Supernova in the middle of the fire. The LSA just controlling Arbit. He's got the Lifestealer infested up, but the egg's going to pop. They find the stunned Lifestealer melted down as well as T1. They find such an incredible team fight, transitioning that into a Roshan claim for them. Whitemon is doing too much work on this Phoenix, and they're not done. The rest of the two heroes diving underneath the base. Zephyr and Carl will find a 4th target here.
It just feels like they're mentally connected here on this this Spectre and Phoenix, you know, just relying on Whitemon to get all of these clutch heals off, huge amounts of damage, amazing Supernova, but excuse me, it's that initial Haunt coming through, just picking off the Ogre Magi, making it a quick 5v4 fight, and, you know, just snowballing through from there, straight into the Aegis as well, so good luck killing off this Jackie Spectre.
Yeah, and you take a look on Dire, like, we're not really seeing this Infest Bomb come through with the Pango Lifesteal. I mean, there's definitely some better combos that you can have come out, but it's the issue is that Radiant, you've got Ember going in, you've got Earth Spirit going in, Spectre with a Haunt, so now your Lina's positioning in fights is just a little bit, it's easier to position yourself when you've got 3 heroes on your team, just brute forcing down, even you're providing the space for Whitemon. We're just seeing this Sunray Supernova perfect spot, so they've got to pick their fights, you know, in surrounding areas where you can hunt the backline here. It's getting really difficult, and the Phoenix is just showing up, and the rest of T1 as well. The communication from them, just taking fights when they've got their ultimates, and, you know, they're looking good here in this game 1.
I feel like this Infest, the only time it's been used has been like in case of emergency, use Infest to live for an extra 2 seconds. Whereas I feel like they need to be using it a lot more aggressively. This Leshrac, it's a position 4. You know, it's not going to be dishing out a lot of damage. He doesn't have an Ags or anything like that that just can continue to tick for that extra, you know, 3 seconds, gets another 2 Lightning Storm casts off, for example. So, I don't know, I feel like they do need to be playing a little bit more proactively, making sure they can get onto this Phoenix, some more smokes, some more wraparounds. And they could very easily come back into this game, but it just seems like the way that they've been taking team fights has been a little bit awkward.
What have we here?
T1 just able to deal with the lanes at the moment. In Your Dream At least the nice thing about the live steal at the moment is that they don't really have the greatest way to be able to go through the rage unless that supernova pops, you know, until Spectre gets something like an abyssal blade as well. So in your dreams, just, you know, at least he has that full protection of the rage, although Polo is very far pushed out. T1's just going to be able to get a nice little quick pick off in the river and maybe find more as well. Zephyr straight on top. Ice, he just gets the roll on the edge. Sans still on cooldown though, but it looks like with the chain locked down, Cuckoo's going to be able to get in range, and now Ice is the secondary hero to get picked off. Cuckoo double for him.
Really nice team play coming through there from T1. Taking advantage of the fact that Dream TP'd all the way back to base, so there was no way that he was rejoining that team fight. They felt confident in making that full aggression and didn't even have to use the haunt. So that's how strong of a position T1 are in right now. Oh, well, you talk about those rage-piercing effects. Basher is the next item up here for Jackie, so wanting to even take that away from Team Dog.
Yeah, such an important factor here. Now it's even a slight way to protect that egg as well. You know, you get one lucky bash, then, you know, you're always popping the rage to try and deal with the supernova, which is, you've got to be careful, because if you bring it down, or if you bring it down pretty slow and that rage expires and you haven't disengaged with the remaining duration, then T1 might just fully collapse on top of the lifesteal. And, you know, they don't have as much of a defensive factor. I guess, you know, the pipe is okay, you got the run buff as well, you know, the glimmer, the mech, but it's, you know, none of these defensive supports that are really going to help with the positioning. So now that bash is really going to make it difficult here for In Your Dreams positioning. He's still going to be up in their face, but he might get caught out.
So much faith, again, being given by Jackie towards people like Whitemon, for example. He went into the Spectral Dagger slow slash bonus talent instead of the 400 health. So just realizing that, look, my role is to be on the front lines, to be constantly chasing down these squishier supports, and have trust that my team is actually going to be able to back me up. Because, I mean, to be fair, they've been on point up until this stage, right? If they're focusing onto him, it means that Cuckoo's going to be able to have a much easier time as well. He's going to be able to get off that Greaves, that Medallion of Courage. They just need to stack everything onto this Spectre, and that also leads into the other heroes having an easier time as well.
As you see, now Cuckoo's going to have at least some way to increase his positioning with the 4-star picked up, although Whitemon running a bit far away from the team, although without having Polo in range, they won't be able to chain lock him down. Although they do see a couple heroes top. Carl's going to show, and with that global potential of the Haunt as well, Jackie straight on top of Polo's son. There's nothing they can do to stop the Spectre as he's hunting the backline, and now wants Arbit as well.
There's
the bash is showing up massive there as he finds a hit, a second as well. And now Carl's not done because the Aghanim's looking to go aggressively. He doesn't give a damn. They won't have the damage to go through the Fire Blast shields, just in case. That Rolling Thunder potential. They didn't have vision of Ice, but the Aegis did just tick out. So T1 utilizing that remaining duration to get a couple of pickoffs and maybe an objective as well if they stick around.
They're even trying to take away their Ancients. You know, Cuckoo stacking up the Ancients here on the dire side of the map, making sure that Spectre's immediately going to beeline for it after, well, probably still hit onto this tier 2 tower, but then as soon as any sort of aggressive movement starts to come out from Team Dog, it's just rotate back, take away what's theirs, and it just slows down what Team Dog have for comeback potential. Lashes respawn, but no Abed, you're not really concerned. Like, who else do you have that can frontline? It's such an awkward position to be in here as In Your Dream, right? He's getting closer towards that that AC, which is going to be really effective for the rest of your team, but it's just a little lacking in damage. As soon as that rage wears out, you are incredibly vulnerable.
I mean, he's super squishy. If that armlet's not toggled, he's got about 1600 HP. So if you know, there's not a lot to utilize here as mid though. They're going to try and go on Zephyr. He's got a couple heroes in the backline for Sunray. Meanwhile, Carl just instantly on top of the back, trying to disrupt this. They get the Fire Blast with the follow-up. Ice. Not going to be there in time. Can they find the connection afterwards as well? Beautiful Supernova is going to force Dire back, so they're not really able to utilize it, but it's more of a zoning ultimate as Zephyr is going to go forward here. Arbid pops the beacon in the nick of time. He's got the ultimate as well. No one's died just yet, but now with the Infest straight on the back, Jackie is going to be careful, but he doesn't even damn look how tanky he is. The boat's going to come through, but meanwhile, the Sunray's just shredding them down, and Carl, he doesn't have to worry about stuns. The Sans is there once again, but the Yulsep is going to provide the space, and T1, they're just diving the base. Froth and Dogs here, they don't give a damn about Dire. Team Dog are in trouble, rolling once again. Chains on 2, as T1 shred him down, just the life steal, but it doesn't matter. Jackie, bash, finds him down. LSA timing, look at him go to work. T1, don't lose anyone, and that's it. They take game 1 off the back of a sweep. They're in that fight. The execution from T1 throughout the later stages in these fights were just so goddamn on point.
Oh, I don't want to be called biased, but Whitemon, you're a very, very good player. That was insane. The sun rays, everything just being given in onto the Spectre. Zephyr again, just no fear, just rolling into 4 people and just having the backup there from Cuckoo, perfectly calculating the range there on the Guardian Greaves, giving the extra armor as well just from the aura. He's able to get away. It's just fearless. It's good teamwork, and I'm really enjoying how well Jackie has seamlessly, it feels like, just integrated into what is effectively the old Geek Fam roster, but no Raven plus Jackie.
Yeah, I mean, you highlighted that Whitemon just... you highlighted, sorry, I should say that the performance on the Phoenix there. And, you know, Whitemon, I was... just the... They enable this hero so much with how they're able to go in first on T1, Ember, Earth Spirit, Spectre. The Phoenix does so much work, and this is kind of the issue of Team Dog, that they weren't able to... It felt like they had an opportunity through really that early just before the mid game, where they were, you know, had some net worth advantage, but it felt like they weren't able to pressure enough. You know, Spectre, they got some farm around the Ancients and maybe overstepped a fight, you know, a couple times, and really just gave that advantage back. And we saw T1, like, this is a team that, you know, seemingly have just been able to, you know, shine in a lot of games when they're slightly behind, and really just ramp up the pressure when they have this advantage. And, you know, what do you think Team Dog need to switch up in the second game here?
Good question. I mean, the Arbid Conquer lost, which is something that's a little bit surprising. I mean, you can't fault too much about the way that he played. It felt a little underwhelming for Afu, but again, it wasn't really all too much. He did end up going the Veil, which of course really effective. I think it's more just about going for the supports first and foremost. Like, Zephyr died 8 times, but that was because he put himself in that position. You could see, look at his items. He's like, I'll get a wand, I'll get a value cloak, and then a BKB, just so that he could be the main focus. And you can't just allow Whitemon to sit back, do whatever the hell he wants. And I guess you kind of highlighted it a little bit as well during the draft. They don't have a huge amount of ways to take out Carl from 100 to 0. There were a number of times where he was able to just run away, and there was nothing that Team Dog could do about it. You know, it's a lot that needs to be committed onto him. He had gone into this Yule Scepter build, even towards that last fight. Like, he had a regen rune bottled that he popped as soon as he Yule Sceptered up into the air. So he was just back to be able to fight another day. So I feel like you just need to not allow T1 to get this sustain type of team fight, where you could just toss someone on the front lines and then slowly win by death of 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, well, I mean, they bled to death what felt like here from Team Dog in this game 1, and, you know, I'm gonna just say ban out the Phoenix, and let's see how they're able to fare in that next game, because I think Whitemon popped off, and I want to see some emphasis on the Phoenix in this next game with how well he was able to perform. So we're gonna take a short break here. Game 2 right around the corner. We'll see if Team 1 are gonna be able to knock Team Dog down to the lower bracket, or if we'll go to another game 3. See our questions answered very shortly.